Hi everybody, we had a great response to our first video that we sent out last week, what we're calling the video mailbag. I've got a couple of emails. I don't know if they were emails or letters that came in, but when you see this, if things occur to you, whether it's topical for the week or the month or just something that you'd like to comment on, absolutely do that and let us know at one of our offices or in Ottawa here, and we'll get back to you and hopefully we'll choose your particular question. If not, we'll certainly get back to you anyway. So here are two. We picked two this week out of a number that dealt with prorogation. And let me just read sort of the essence of the letters. Mark in Fort Francis says, "Why should any person care about government or politics? Why should we vote when the government does what it wants?" Okay, that was talking about prorogation. And then Donna in Thunder Bay says, "As you are aware, the majority of Canadians are opposed to the previous prorogation of our government. I'm writing to you to request that you and your colleagues in Parliament Hill take immediate action in addressing this issue. I'd like to see legislation introduced limiting the power of the Prime Minister to ensure this doesn't happen again." Two different letters dealing with the same thing. Let me talk to Mark first in Fort Francis. Absolutely, this whole prorogation thing, the last one and this one, is just another nail in the coffin of people deciding that they're not going to vote. Things don't change. Government does what they want to do, and nobody can touch them. Well, and then this is related to the second question from Donna in Thunder Bay. In fact, there was something that we could do, and we had last week we had a motion before Parliament introduced by Jack Layton, and it dealt with limiting the powers of the Prime Minister to prorogue for long periods of time, not for short periods of time. Up to 7 days, it's okay, and prorogation has its place. But the elected representatives, that's myself and all the other 307 other MPs, Canadians elected us to be your voice and to prorogue Parliament because you want to avoid, talking about Afghan detainees, or in the first case, shortly after the election in 2008, you just simply want to avoid your government falling in another election. There are other ways to do that. Canadians understand that governments sometimes do what they need to do to get their agenda clearer and to move ahead. In the second one, the prorogation one, what was Mr. Harper's reasoning? He wanted to recalibrate his government and his government plans and get the budget ready. But you know what? There was no real recalibration. In fact, the budget was sort of a non-entity, particularly for us in northwestern Ontario and those involved with forestry and dealing with EI issues and pensions and senior citizens, children, child care. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I guess for Mark and for Francis, what I'd say, Mark, is don't give up. There are things that parties are working on, that MPs are working on, to make life better for all Canadians. Stay tuned to politics and certainly vote. Don't get the feeling that the government just simply does what it wants, although it appears to be that way sometimes. So that motion, Mark, by the way, limiting the government to prorogue the House, was passed in the House. But the problem with motions is that they're non-binding. But the government does have a responsibility to act as the House wants them to act. So when the majority of MPs support this motion on prorogation, the NDP motion, the government really, its responsibility is to say, okay, well, you know what, the majority of the House has spoken and I need to do something about this. So we'll continue to press. Donna, so I guess that answers your question too. The motion has been introduced. There hasn't been a bill, there hasn't been any legislation yet that will change the way prorogation happens. In other words, something that concretely goes through the House of Commons and on to the Senate and becomes law. But that could very well be coming from one of the opposition parties. So don't be discouraged. You can make a difference, and you do make a difference. I mean, obviously, Mark and Donna and others who sent in to our mailbag this week, you're interested in politics, you're interested in how it affects you and your families, and I thank you for that. So when you see this, if there's something else that comes up, absolutely let us know. I'll be talking about pensions probably next week, and so if you have any pension things that you'd like to talk about, feel free to let our officers know. Okay, thanks everybody.